Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. It is 1st of December, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can't believe that it's already been a year of me getting married. I've actually just dropped my husband off at the train station because he was going to work, and then I thought I'd come back and film this video. And as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be all about my wedding and me doing some question and answers related to wedding, relationship, married life that I received from Instagram. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to just reminiscing the wedding. Not that I need a reason to, because I do that on a daily basis, I feel, with my husband. And yeah, I'm just really excited to answer these questions and talk to you a bit more about my wedding, wedding planning, and just married life in general. Okay, so the first question that I was asked is, how many events were there at your wedding? So there were 5 events for me for my wedding. There was Garba, which is pretty much a Sangeet night on Thursday the 28th of November, followed by my Mehndi on the 29th. And then we did Haldi and the Ganesh Puja in the morning on Saturday the 30th. And then Sunday the 1st of December was my wedding day. We did a wedding in the morning and then we had reception in the same hall in the evening. So the second question is, where did you get married? And there's also another question that I got, which was, why did you not go to India to get married? So I'll just answer both of them at the same time because it makes sense. So basically, yes, I'm Indian, but my husband, he's from Fiji, so it just didn't make any sense for us to go to India to get married. And all of our friends and family friends are also here, so it just made sense for us to get married here in Sydney. And the first part of that question, which is where I actually got married, it was the Grand Paradiso Hall in Liverpool. They very kindly put a package together for us for the reception in the evening and wedding in the morning. So I feel like it turned out to be a bit more cost effective doing it at the same venue on the same day. And of course, being in the same vicinity, we didn't really have to travel too much. So that really helped out with how the day went as well. Next question, where did I get all my outfits from? So I got all my outfits from India. I was very lucky that I got a chance to go to India prior to my wedding to do some wedding shopping. I ended up getting my wedding Lengha from Manyavar because my cousin suggested that we go to that store because I was quite lost in terms of where to go to find a wedding Lengha for the price that I was after. I didn't want to spend too much, and she suggested Manyavar because they have great quality stuff for pretty good prices. So I ended up going there, and within a day I had finalized my wedding Lengha there. But yeah, obviously I did go to many more stores prior to that. But yeah, definitely as soon as I saw the one in Manyavar, I was like, that's the one. The rest of my outfits, like for Mehndi, Haldi, Sangeet, and even reception, I got from a store called Abhinetri. The store, I think it's in many locations in India, but the one that I went to was in Ratanpur, which is like a wholesale market in Ahmedabad. And I ended up just spending pretty much most of my time that I was in India in that particular area, just looking for clothes, jewelry, and I also got my bridesmaids and groomsmen's outfits made from there as well. Not from Abhinetri, but from Ratanpur in general. So if you ever go to Ahmedabad and you need to buy Indian outfits, I would recommend going to Ratanpur, but definitely take a local with you because that place is chaotic and you need a local, I think, to kind of guide you around. Lucky for me, my mum was there, so I ended up being in really safe hands. And yeah, I ended up getting all my stuff from there. And whilst it was like one-stop shop for everything, it was still really chaotic and it took a lot of trips to kind of find the right store and get what I need. But yeah, it was a really fun experience. So short answer is that I got all my clothes from India. All right, so next question is, who did your hair and makeup? So Parashar did my hair and makeup for Sangeet, reception, and wedding. She also kind of mixed my trial with the pre-wedding shoot. So I did a trial on the day of my pre-wedding shoot, and I ended up actually loving the curls and everything that she did for my pre-wedding shoot. So I opted to do a very similar look for reception. So next question is, what was your favorite part about the wedding? Well, the whole wedding actually was pretty amazing. I would say it was one of the best days of my life, and yeah, it was actually over so quickly that in itself was ridiculous because it took so long to plan that it just went by in a flash, and I was not expecting that it would go by that quickly. But yeah, overall, the favorite part about the wedding would definitely have to be the part where I had walked in already into the venue, and I was standing there at the altar, or mandap as we call it, with the garland in my hand, and I was just waiting for that curtain between me and my husband to drop so I could finally see him. And there was so much anticipation and emotion in that moment that when that curtain dropped, it just all hit me, and I saw him and I was like, oh my god, you look great, I can't wait, this is like finally happening. And all of those emotions just came to me all at once. And even now when I watch the video of it, it's such a emotional moment for me, and I can still feel it. For those that don't really understand what I'm talking about, I'll actually insert a little clip of what I'm talking about so you can see that. So yeah, that was my favorite moment. There were many other favorite moments, but I think that one, when I think about the whole day, that one really stands out to me. So I got a question from a friend of mine which says, how many photos does it take for Almond to get annoyed? Now, for those that don't know, on my Instagram I post photos of my outfits, or even when I go somewhere new, I love to take photos. And back when I was making dance videos, which I'm still obviously going to continue making, but back when I was doing it, Almond was also the one who would film it. So this question is quite funny because luckily he doesn't actually get annoyed when I ask him to do those things, or ask him to take photos, or multiple photos for that matter. But when it comes to me looking at the photos, and then when I don't tell him what I don't like about the photo, and I just say, can I have another photo or one last photo, he really gets annoyed about that. Because firstly, he knows that it's not going to be just one last photo, and secondly, he just wants me to tell him what's wrong with the photo before I ask him to take another photo. Because he always says that if there's something wrong with the photo, or the camera angle's wrong, or the lighting you don't like, at least tell me so I can fix it. But sometimes honestly, it's just, I just don't like my face in the photo, and I say that to him and he's like, well, that's fine, change your face, do something different. But just don't say take another photo with no direction. So he gets really frustrated about that. But other than that, yeah, he's really supportive, and he will always make time to take photos and videos for me. So another question is, what is the biggest difference in your relationship after being married? Is that yes, when we were dating, we would fight all the time, and after the fight we would kind of make up and not really go into too much detail about what it was that caused the fight, or what we should do differently next time, because we kind of wanted the fight to be over and for us to move on from it, rather than spend more time talking about it, because we already had such a limited time to see each other. But now I feel that whenever we do fight, there's more communication afterwards about what happened and what went wrong, and what we probably don't want to do again in the future, because now that we're married, we're obviously with each other all the time, and we don't want to spend all that time fighting about the same things again and again. Where I feel like when we were dating, we would sometimes fight about the same stuff over and over again. And that's not to say that it doesn't happen right now. I mean, we could still be fighting about the same things over and over again right now, but there is that communication element added to it that was a bit less before, which I think is a really good change, because obviously, you know, we want to get to the bottom of each fight and make sure that we move on and resolve whatever issues come up. Next question is, how was your transition moving in with the hubby? Was married life what you expected? Okay, so the first part of that question, the transition was actually very easy, because we had already set up the apartment prior to the wedding, and after we got married we had 2 weeks of leave still, and within those 2 weeks we ended up buying all the other stuff that we didn't have that we needed for the wedding, and yeah, just setting up our place. So that transition was very simple, but obviously when you go from living with your parents where you're very comfortable and you already have a set routine, and then going and living with somebody else, especially in a different suburb, I feel like that transition was hard for me just because I'm not a huge fan of traveling to work and all of that. So when I was in a new suburb and I had to develop a new routine, I was a bit anxious about it, and it took me a bit of time to kind of get used to the routine. Of course, it didn't matter because then we had COVID and I was working from home, which has been great. But yeah, whilst we were going into work every day, building that routine was a bit of a struggle at the beginning. But once that routine was formed, I think I settled in quite nicely. And then, of course, smaller things like the way your partner may do things around the house, it's very different to perhaps what you've grown up with or what you like seeing around the house. Just small things like that. I think that is things that you just learn as you live with someone new. But yeah, that made the transition a bit, not difficult, but tedious, I would say, because we had to learn things about each other, like how we like to do dishes, laundry, cook and clean. So yeah, all of those changes definitely took time for us to get used to, but overall it was a pretty smooth transition, I would say. The only part that I didn't expect, or is different to my expectations, is the fact that all these small things that we do, that we grow up doing rather, like how long you're in the shower, or the way you cook, or the way you clean, how much those things will actually matter. I never thought that me and my husband would get into a fight about laundry, or the way I do the dishes, or the way he does the dishes, because all of my expectations, I feel like, were set on like movies or things that I've heard. And I feel like people don't really talk about that in movies, that, oh, my husband doesn't do the dishes properly or the way that I want him to do it. It's more just like, oh, you know, husbands are lazy, I have to pick up after them. And I was like, no, my husband's not lazy, I don't have to pick up after him, which is true. But sometimes when he does chores, I look at it and I'm like, that's not how I've grown up doing it. And then we fight about it. And that was something that I never expected to happen between us. But I guess that's married life. So next question is, what is one positive and one not so positive married life change? I'd have to say a positive married life change is the fact that we are living together and have so much time with each other now. I feel like that's really helped us out in terms of our communication and always being on the same page. Sorry, I won't say always, trying to be on the same page. But yeah, having all this time together is definitely been great for us, and it's been a really positive change for both of us. One not so positive change, I would say, is the fact that I have to cook. I don't like to cook, and I really miss the fact that my mom used to cook so much all the time, and now that I have to cook for myself, it's a bit pretty annoying, I would say. But overall, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that is not really a negative change at all. My husband and I were trying to work out how we can best cook with him eating meat and me not eating meat. So yeah, we kind of try and work our meals out so that if we're making pasta, for example, then he makes his sauce and I make mine, but we prep together because most of the ingredients that go into the sauce are the same. So things like that. It's still been a nice, you know, learning experience to do that with him. But overall, yeah, I don't like to cook, so that's the first thing that came to my mind with a not so positive change. So the last question that I've got here is, what is the one thing that you like the most about your husband? I just like how supportive he is in everything that I do. I feel like he's always been my number one fan, and I think that's, yeah, that just makes me speechless. So I don't actually know how to end this video because I feel like I can talk about my wedding forever, but I will probably end with saying that this past year has really just flown by, and I've learned so much, and I feel like I've grown up a lot in this past year, and I'm just thankful when I think back about my wedding thankful to my parents, my family, my friends, my in-laws, everyone who kind of supported Almond and me throughout the wedding planning process and on the wedding day, and of course who've continued to support us over the past year. Yes, thank you so much to all of you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. And to my husband, I love you very much, and I am so thankful that I'm your wife. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and of course do leave me a comment with any of your relationship or wedding stories that you have. I would love to hear them. And of course do subscribe to my channel because I do make new videos every Tuesday, so definitely do subscribe so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.